That's about something. Could really get.
So this is a message that Ryan sent to Gypsy. I'm going to be honest about something. I could really give a F about your dad's one-on-one time with you right now. I want to love on my wife, haha. Baby, don't be selfish. I mean, to be honest with you, the fact that Ryan had the audacity to send that is crazy. But hey, let's get into this video because this week's episode was spicy.
About your devil. It's a shame he feels that way.
I get it.
No, I'm like,
Is that his true colors, like, coming out?
when things go, and he's like, well, video with me, you know? And I'm like, you know, we don't need to do that right now. And he like, the way he was hinting as if Ken was here.
Yeah.
And I think I texted him and I was like, I'm not dealing with this bullshit now.
Good.
Apologize because that will pacify me. And it'll lead to us making up. Yeah.
You know, it's crazy though, because at the end of the day, Gypsy's out here having a one-to-one time with her father. A father that she, you know, unfortunately didn't get a chance to actually be in her life, you know what I mean, whilst her mother was alive for the most part. But now, obviously, you know, Daddy's trying to make amends for, you know, the lost time, and obviously Gypsy's being obviously open with her open hand, which is absolutely fantastic. But for Ryan to sit there and then say last week, and obviously what he's just said here about, well, FaceTime me. And then she's like, no. And he's like, why? Is Ken there? It's crazy. The fact that Ryan is that deluded or that paranoid that he genuinely believes that Gypsy's family would invite Ken round, or she would use her family as an excuse to go and see Ken rather than actually have that real genuine one-to-one time with her father. That is crazy. That level of insecurity that that Ryan has, it's not healthy. Ryan should have left this relationship for his own sake, because clearly he was driving himself crazy with his own self-insecurities. But we continue.
But to sit there and almost nonchalantly accuse me of cheating on him while I'm spending time with y'all for years, 3 years. The cycle is I have a little freedom, possessive, and I shy away from that, and I try to stand my ground.
It's not good. I think he doesn't get it. I think he doesn't get that, you know, it's all triggers. You should have understood that he's going to have to give you some of that, and he needs to deal with it and let you do your thing.
Look at it this way, Gypsy's somebody who we know lived a life where pretty much she was a prisoner, you know, for a significant amount of time of her life. And even living that life as a prisoner, obviously when the mom was here, is then also the matter of her actually also then going to an actual prison as well. So she's obviously never had freedom. She's never had time to herself. She's never had time to go out in the world and really enjoy it for what it is, and to really discover who she is and what she likes and what she desires, all those things. So Ryan really and truly should have known that Gypsy coming out of prison and finally being away from her mum, well, she obviously would want to seek freedom here, there, and everywhere. Of course, she'd want to seek, you know, have a relationship with her sister, having a relationship with her father, with her stepmom, and also on top of that, just having a relationship with just nature, society stuff in particular, you know, and just doing things without Ryan always being there. But the fact that Ryan can't allow this information to sink in is quite sad. But at the same time, though, were there things that Gypsy may have done that may have put Ryan in this mindset where he felt like he couldn't just let Gypsy go off on her own because she may be doing something that she shouldn't? Well, that's something that we're going to get into later on in this video.
Make it work. So I keep making it work. But I feel like I'm ignoring some inner voice that tells me that your journey there is going to be long and difficult.
I hit a trauma trigger. I hate that we fought the first weekend we were away. Like, that was the first time we were apart since we made up. And now we're great.
We sat down and we talked for a little bit. And he's like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
If we have an argument, we grow from it and we move forward.
You know, listen, it's crazy though, because Ryan is aware of triggers. He's aware of some of Gypsy's triggers, if not maybe even all of them. And the fact that he will still pick up those little triggers is bizarre to me. It's as if Ryan was setting himself up for failure subconsciously. You know, I wouldn't say he was doing it on purpose, because obviously he definitely wants to be with Gypsy, right? He's obsessed with her. Maybe a bit too much. But he does talk about how, you know, how things were before Gypsy came out of prison. And clearly he obviously wants a Gypsy that can only confide in him. That's it. Nothing else but that. But again, the question is, though, is that something Ryan has always had in him? Or is this something that Gypsy did to him to put him in this mental state of mind? If you ask me personally, he found a woman that was in prison. He expected her to come out and her to be codependent on him no matter what. And because it doesn't turn out in that kind of way, it's definitely get under his skin. But that doesn't mean that Gypsy doesn't have a role to play in his actions, which is something we'll get into once it is spoken about in this episode.
Are you happy?
Yes. And all of a sudden now you're not.
Maybe I'm not. I don't know. There's just sometimes that I feel like we're different people.
We are different people, but like we're not heading toward different things. Okay.
You see the way he loves to bring Ken up. Don't get me wrong, in previous episodes, Gypsy has brought up Ken. And the fact that she does bring up Ken time to time is very strange. And it's definitely something that would make a lot of us live on the edge, thinking, whoa, what's going on? But some of us who have self-worth would be like, listen, if you're going to keep talking about your ex, well, then me and you are done. Those are the people with self-worth, you know what I'm saying? But then there's people like Ryan who, well, I guess he's got his own little false hope and he's going to stick around anyway and then use Ken as a tool and use his name in a negative way whenever Gypsy mentions anything that revolves around her being unhappy. Obviously, in this conversation, she talks about how she's obviously unhappy. But let's play some more before I say anything else.
You're probably already talking to him anyway. You're not? Okay, then why all of a sudden are you not happy? We can't, let's at least try. Instead of just throw in the towel.
Therapy? You're in therapy.
I know, but I'm saying together.
I tell you what, I had no idea that they were both in therapy. And I promise you this now, two people in therapy in a relationship, yeah, for me personally, that screams a red flag. You both got issues going on, and you're both needing therapy. Now listen, that can be subjective because there's people that can meet who are not in therapy, and then when they're in the relationship, at some point they both end up needing to seek therapy for whatever reasons. That is different. But two people that are currently in therapy, depending on what they're in therapy about, either way though, I'm just saying, if it's me in that situation, it's a bit of a sticky one still. But nonetheless though, let me know your thoughts on that one. Let's move on.
I'm saying together. We go in and we talk about this together.
I'm not gonna make a rash decision.
You make rash decisions all the time.
And to be fair, he does have a very, very strong point. She definitely does make rash decisions. That is no lie.
All the time.
Don't want to work at it.
Okay, right? And are you not wanting to fight for this anymore? No?
Honestly, that was the moment I was like, yep, it is game over. Your relationship is done and dusted. She has made her choice. The second that somebody says they're not willing to fight anymore, conversation is done. Done.
Sometimes I just think that I would be happier somewhere else.
Okay.
Please don't think that you have done anything wrong.
Don't know what else is at play. You know, she still mentions her ex on occasions. I'm like, are you talking? And she's like, no. Are you talking? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And I have to believe that. Like, I mean, like I would go crazy. And then I'm the jealous, controlling one, you know?
So this is obviously the point in the moment that I was waiting for. Gypsy's role in Ken's in Ryan's actions. She mentions Ken quite often, or every now and then. That is something that's definitely going to drive him nuts. And then all of a sudden, problems start to appear for her when Ken is resurfaced, and Ken has now made contact with her stepmom. So I can understand why he'd be sitting there more paranoid than normal, more on edge than normal, more cautious than normal, because he knows that Ken is now lurking around. But again, though, somebody with self-worth would have left straight off the bat. Wouldn't still be in this position right here, right now. But Ryan decided to stick around, and he stuck around until Gypsy finally said, it's over. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but boy, you had a chance to end this relationship, but you didn't. That's just the grand scheme of it.
I know that I'm in a codependent marriage. I am in a codependent relationship. He has that codependency to me. Can't we
That was a test.
have some healthy level of boundaries? And
I'm getting from all of this. I mean, you went from one prison to another prison, and now you're in another one, and
I wouldn't go that far, Mom.
you have now.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's exactly how far to go. Where is the lie? She has gone, like she went from her mom's prison to prison, to then in a relationship or a marriage with Ryan, where in this marriage, he's expecting her to always be with him at every single given time. That is literally another form of a prison. Now, listen, in some relationships, that's not a bad thing because sometimes two people do desire that type of lifestyle. But that is not the case in this one. And this is where Gypsy explained to him in the car that I just feel like we're two different people. And that's something that went over Ryan's head. But here's the thing, that the question is, with or without Ken being involved, with or without Ken's name ever even surfacing out of her mouth, would he have given her the freedom that she desires or wanted to spend time with her family? Somebody tells me no. Somebody tells me that he was always gonna have an issue with her wanting to spend time with other people that do not involve him.
Never lived like you should have growing up. He wants the Gypsy that was in prison, that was okay with him, that he stayed home. And
when it comes down to like the things that obviously y'all want in life are very different.
Married, you know, it's gonna be
coming up on 2 years.
But y'all, to me,
It's been a few
y'all
months.
been married just a few months.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they hit the nail on the head of that one right there. You'll be married literally for a few months because your marriage started the moment that you left that prison. It never started when you was in the prison. Hence the reason why we go back to him saying that she's always making rash decisions. Her deciding to marry Ryan in the first place was a rash decision. It's something that she should have never done. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, when you watch Gypsy's story, it's one of those stories where you're always going to have opinions on different sides of the fence. And sometimes you don't really know which side of the fence you're on. Because to be fair, there are some elements of what she says and does that tells me that she used this man and wasted this man's time and purpose. You know, when I say on purpose, I mean like she did it knowing that she wasn't fully committed to this man. Do I believe that she ever really loved this man the way she should have? No, not really. There's a few things here and there that tells me no, you know what I mean? But then also on the flip side, there are also things that I can sit and say that, hey, it's life, you know? It really depends on what perspective you want to see things at based on what has been delivered by Gypsy, or at least by the show at this moment in time. Now, in this moment in time, I will say that we knew as of last week that if Ken had told her that he was going to wait for her, she would have never married Ryan. And if you ask me personally, why she married Ryan in the first place, that again feels very unclear and doesn't feel like as if it was a genuine attempt. But she did. But she always knew that the second Ken came back in her life, she was always going to jump ship. And that's what she's done. That is shut of a doubt. Which therefore goes back to, did she ever really have any love for Ryan? Listen, some people may call it a rebound. Some people may call it as a way she's trying to settle so she can have something for her on the outside. It really depends on how you want to look at it. But either way, Ken was always going to be the guy that she was going to leave Ryan for, anyone else for. And it is quite sad. Nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions on the matter, okay? And we can most certainly talk about it. But hey, rolling next week. And here, boom, bam. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.